Welcome to Everything Weapons with David Cooper and Dalen Savage on 1510 WLAC. From buying a gun, ammo, and gun safety, David and Dalen can point you in the right direction by calling 615-737-WLAC or 1-800-688-WLAC. Now, here they are, the experts behind Everything Weapons. Everything Weapons. David Cooper and Dalen Savage.
Good afternoon or good evening, Dalen. How are you, my friend?
Fantastic, David. How are you this evening?
I am doing so great. We had a really successful day at our shooting range today.
We did.
We had the Glock 43 in the Glock factory out there to shoot the new 43. It was just an incredible day, and I think someone had a chance and they were able to win or get their name in the hat.
Yeah, a free gun from Glock.
Is it a 43?
No, the 43 is not listed.
Oh, but they get a choice of a lot of different
any
guns.
standard Glock, 19, 23, 27, 26, doesn't matter.
Every single year we have a Glock shooting day at the range, and it's always right after they release a new gun. Hopefully next year they'll have another new gun release, and we'll be able to do it again.
I tried to dig that out of Mike today.
Oh, what was coming next?
Yeah.
He wouldn't talk.
Are we finally going to see this Glock carbine that everybody's been talking about for years? He's like, I don't know. I don't know. I'm like, dude, you know. I know you know.
Exactly. Well, tonight we have a very special guest on the line. Miles, are you there?
I am here.
Fantastic. So Miles is from a company called Ameriglo, and Ameriglo makes night sights. So I'm sure a lot of people out there that are listening to the show have either tried night sights, have thought about buying night sights, may sit there and say, well, why do I need them? So let's get into a really good discussion from everything as far back as you'd like to go, Miles. If you want to get into kind of how Ameriglo was started, we can do that. Or if you want to just get right into what night sights are and why we need them.
Well, first of all, I guess we'll go ahead and start with the whole premise of the night sights. I think that they've really grown in popularity due to the fact that they really don't add any additional weight to the gun, and they're so easy to use because most people have been trained from an early age to use 3-dot, for your sights. So to add the tritium lamps right in where the dots are on a normal set of sights, you automatically, it's intuitive. I mean, you automatically kind of know just to line up the 3 dots, no matter whether it's during the day where they look kind of like the white dots, or at nighttime where they glow. And tritium is a radioactive isotope. It'll last. You should be able to get 15 years of useful illumination out of the tritium.
So wait a minute, radioactive. So that sounds a little iffy. Help me out here. What is tritium?
A very, very small amount of tritium that is used. You actually get more from standing in front of the microwave than what you ever would from these sites. But and they're completely sealed in a glass tube. As the tritium is decaying, that's what illuminates the phosphor.
All right. So if I am using a gun for home defense, or I'm using this gun for a personal carry, you really recommend, obviously you work for Ameriglo, having these sights on. So the idea behind it is I pull up my gun, it's 2-3 in the morning, I hear that glass break, I grab my gun, I've got my 3 dots, I can see visibly, clearly where I'm pointing and what's happening.
You're able to get that front sight acquisition very quickly. That's where the tritium really aids as far as in the low light. And then during the day, we offer our standard classic night sights, which look like 3 dots during the day, and then we also offer some of our sets of sights either use a bright green or a bright orange front sight that helps again with the front sight acquisition during the day.
So on my Glocks, I have the standard 3-dot, and so I'm a big customer of your guys because every gun that I can put them on, I have them on. So I'm a big believer in night sights. I can tell you the first Glock that I bought 25 years ago, a Glock 23 Gen 1, had night sights, and it had tritium. And the guy behind the counter says, well, you won't get too much exposure. So I was like, all right, the gun's going to sit in the drawer most of the time.
Yeah.
I guess I'll be okay. Now I know why I got my brain tumor. Just kidding. So, I've been a believer in night sights, since I was 21 years old. I'm 46 now. So I like this idea. My Smith & Wesson Shield, I've got that bright orange front that you talked about with the single dot back. So if we can get into a discussion of, more about what tritium is, if we can talk about, why would we want 2-dot backs or single dot back, how we're lining stuff up, the importance of maybe different colors, if there is an importance of it. Help me out with some of this stuff.
Well, Ameriglo makes quite a variety of combination of sights. You'd mentioned the Pro, the eye dots, where you put the 1 dot, the orange dot out front over top of the rear tritium lamp. And that's a very popular sight. We make them for SIG, XD, Glock, just the Smith & Wesson Shield, the popular guns. But that's just one of the sets. Some of the others that we have are just the tritium only in the rear sight, where the kind of the black outlines and then the bright orange front, and that's kind of like a 3-dot set. And then we have some where it's just the tritium in the front only. And our Lumaline front sights are what we have a photoluminescence material that we put in with the paint. So when you shoot it with a flashlight, for probably maybe 20 seconds of illumination with a flashlight, you'll see that ring around the front sight glow for probably about 10 minutes.
So is there a benefit of one system over another, or is it just personal preference? Or were some of these developed through the use of, spec ops guys, or how did you go through, if you can help me out and understand, if I'm looking at the 3-dot, if that's better for me, or if I'm looking at the I-dot system, how do I determine as a entry-level shooter or a mid-level shooter which direction I should go? Is it just purely personal preference, or what would you say?
Well, I certainly believe that it is personal preference, but we have had the input of, some of the shooting professionals, within our industry. Dave Spalding, a former, police officer, a writer, shooting instructor. He's very knowledgeable about firearms in general. He's helped to develop a set of our CAP sites. Our president, Rick Callahan, and Dave worked together to develop a certain sight system, and we've also got some input, for some of our other models. Kyle DeFore is one that comes to mind. Ken Hackathorn, and those are the names of the sets, and each one of them is kind of different in their own way. Really, for what the people do like. I mean, some people do like the bright green front. A lot of the others like the orange front. And then, like you were saying earlier, just the classic 3-dot white set. So that is one thing that we offer. I think it's kind of more, Ameriglo offers a lot of different varieties in combat tactical applications. And we also sell just the front-only sights, and you can kind of combine our different rears and different fronts. So we're trying to meet all the needs of all the shooters.
Now, your DeFore sights, they're just strictly blacked out combat sights, correct?
Well, you know what? We do have a new tritium model DeFore sight that's been real popular. We just released it probably about 3 weeks ago, and it's definitely had a lot of demand for it.
And for our listeners who don't know who Kyle is, can you kind of fill them in on his area? And we'll get into that after the break. If you guys want to give us a call, talk to Ameriglo. It's 615-737-WLAC. We'll be back after the break.
See you soon.
Over the last 20-plus years, we've helped millions of people get their financial lives in order, and we've taken these lessons on our
Welcome back to the Everything Weapons Hour on 1510 WLAC. If you guys have any questions about Ameriglo sights or any questions from Miles about sighting systems, give us a call at 615-737-WLAC or 1-800-688-WLAC for our out-of-state listeners. Miles, sorry that break kind of snuck up on me. What I was saying was, can you give our listeners a little background information, if you know any, on who Kyle is? I know David, I know who he is, but the listeners may not know the area of expertise he comes from.
Well, I mean, like I said, we use a few different people. Kyle certainly is one of them. I have never met Kyle personally, but I know that he's a professional shooting person within our industry that has a lot of technical background on the shooting in general. And as far as in the design of sights, I know he's an accomplished competition shooter as well. Again, and Ken Hackathorn, I'm certainly not as familiar with him. I believe that there's perhaps a law enforcement background on him as well.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, I believe Kyle's main area of expertise is he was a former SEAL Team 6 guy.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, and he's phenomenal. I mean, his classes he puts on are fantastic. This guy brings a wealth of knowledge to the table. So he's definitely a good consultant for Ameriglo to have.
Absolutely.
So if I am in a situation like in my house versus a situation on the street, would I be more apt to say, necessarily for like my shield, that I've got that bright orange front, as opposed to where I'm thinking about using my gun possibly in the middle of the night, say 2-3 in the morning, where I wake up all groggy-eyed and, I've got all the junk in my eyes, whatever. I'm trying to wipe it all away and try to figure out, what's going on here. And I've got that 3-dot system. So, I mean, are you, when say Dalen and I would be talking to our customer in the store, would you say that we should be telling somebody that one system might be better in a situation and a different system for a different situation?
Well, that's the beauty of the night sights in general. The application during the day, by having that bright orange front sight, is again just for quick focus on that front sight. And then at nighttime, the tritium is always on. There's no batteries to possibly fail you. So it's just really about training with them in all different types of lighting conditions to where you feel comfortable with them, and they're just, after a while, you're going to want them on every single one of the pistols that you have.
So I have a question for you. I've seen where various police departments or other entities may kind of, and Dan, you can probably help me talk to this, but dip their gun in some cleaning solutions and so forth, and hydro cleans, whatever, and it may detract from some of the glowing. Is that something that you've seen, or
you see that a lot?
No, probably not really. The solvents, any kind of solvents that have a heavy or a high concentration of acetone, they could have an effect on the paint. As far as gun scrubber and most of the most popular cleaners that are out there, I guess I would probably do my best to keep that material away from your front, from your sights as possible. But at the same time, it shouldn't affect it, again, unless it's got a heavy acetone base.
Miles, let me ask you another question. You may or may not know this, but how do you guys get the different colors of tritium? Because we've seen yellow, we've seen green. Your standard is pretty much green, but is there a different isotope or whatever for the yellow?
Well, no. We do offer, you always want the green up in the front. The green is always the brightest, so you always want that out in your front sight. But as far as in the rear, we offer yellow lamps, and I think we probably...
Sorry, I don't want anything in the rear.
Yeah, I kind of had to word that a little differently after I said it. I wish I'd done that. But no, you can get yellow lamps in your back sight.
Sorry, I couldn't keep it in.
But it just helps to differentiate the front from the rear very quickly.
Mm-hmm.
And during the daytime, we offer some of our sets of sights have, again, blacked out rear lamps. So again, to kind of a little bit more of the focus on the front sight.
Yeah, and I think that's a big issue too, because a lot of your combat focused shooters, it's for them it's front sight press, and I think Ameriglo has really done a great job with the orange and the yellow front sights, like on the Spartan and Operator and stuff like that, because it really does draw your attention to that front sight, which is what you should be looking at anyway. Your rear sight should be blurry, your front sight should be crisp and clear, and your target should be slightly blurry. So I think you guys have done a great job at bringing that system together as a whole.
And the other thing that I think you guys have done a really good job, and I've just thought about this, is the whole industry, when it comes to female shooters, has been pink. And you guys don't have a pink front sight, and I have to commend you for that. Because everybody does everything pink for women, and we have so many women that come into our shop
that do
and
not
they
like
say,
the pink.
If you show me pink, I'm going to shoot you.
Yeah.
And so the fact that you have not gone that direction, big cheers.
For me personally, I wouldn't mind a pink one.
Or bright blue.
I think
or
you can see the pink really well,
Hey, the pink targets, those sell really well.
Sell really well. You can actually see where you're shooting.
So the funny thing, Miles, is in our indoor shooting range, the number one selling color target is pink.
Really?
Because 10 yards downrange, you can see every bullet shot.
Mm-hmm.
Better than blue, green, white, black. I mean, you name, just hit the mic. You name any color, pink for some reason, and I've got to find out some color specialist or something, but the pink sight shows the shot the best. So as much as I was joking about that front pink sight,
it wouldn't be a bad idea.
It does have some theory out there for what we've been seeing overall in the industry and we've heard this from a couple other ranges as well, is that those pink targets really allow that shooter the visibility. So it was just kind of funny that it came together. So what I'm really getting is, and I can say that we sell more Ameriglo than any other site.
Any other site.
By far.
Mm-hmm.
We carry a few other brands, but when it comes to, the site, Ameriglo, we absolutely sell the bejesus out of it. So if you want to find Ameriglo sites, you can go to www.everythingweapons.com. You can click shop, go down on the left-hand side, and shop by manufacturer. Click on Ameriglo, and you can find everything that they sell right at everythingweapons.com. So that's one of the mistakes we make on the show. We don't talk about everythingweapons.com enough. But it's a great, great site. If you're in one of those 28 states, or I should say 27 other states besides Tennessee, go to everythingweapons.com, click on Ameriglo, and buy those sites. Let everybody know, let Miles and everyone at Ameriglo know you heard the show, you wanted to check out the product. Go to the Ameriglo website, look at what they have to offer, come back to everythingweapons.com and pick it up, and we'll get it shipped right out. Miles, you spent, 12 years now in the industry, 15 years in the industry?
Yeah, actually, probably more up along by 20.
Okay.
Years, I'd have to say yes.
Where else have you been?
Well, I had worked at a smaller pistol company for about a year and a half, and then I worked for another night sight company for quite some time.
Okay, so I guess maybe that night sight company.
Well, I actually had a question about that.
All right.
Ties it in a little bit. We get this question a lot in the store, actually.
Drum roll.
People come in, they look at your competitor, Trijicon. They look at Ameriglo. And what do the Ameriglo sites say on them? Trijicon.
They say $50 cheaper.
Cheaper. And it sells only. Look at this guy. It's the same vials. Is there certain areas that you guys can source tritium from? Is that the reason behind using the tritium vials from Trijicon?
Well, yes. Trijicon, they have the best tritium. They get the best available, and it makes sense to use them for sure.
Another question we get too is, why are night sights so expensive? So I took it upon myself, do a little bit of research. I'm kind of like that. I research things too much, but in looking at it, was I correct in reading that tritium is roughly $30,000 a gram?
Well, yeah, I guess I've never really thought about as far as the adding up that large of an amount. For a gram, the vials are very, very small, And it's quite a piece of it's quite an item. It's got the tritium inside of an aluminum capsule with a crystal sapphire on the front pressed in there. There's a lot to each one of those little vials to make, and then there's again, you got to get them into the country, licensing, all that kinds of things. It makes it tricky for.
Oh, so it's all foreign sourced.
Yes, it is.
Okay,
yeah, it's of Swiss origin.
Yeah, between Aim Point coming out of the Swiss and now the little vials. I mean, they're not leaving anything for us to do. But I guess if they've got it, they've got it. And someone here in America, I guess the EPA would get in the way. That's why we don't do it here.
Yeah, Miles, can you explain to our listeners if you know where tritium even comes from?
Well, again, I know it's of Swiss origin over there, and again, we buy our the tritium here in the U.S., and I'm sure they probably source it from the Swiss.
Right. So it's a radioactive isotope that's a byproduct from nuclear reactors, basically, right?
Exactly.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so there's a limited amount because the more efficient the reactors are, the less tritium is produced. Mm-hmm. So it's we did a little research.
Yeah, that report I read, it said, in 1995 there was 496 pounds in the entire world. And as of 2005, it was down to 190 pounds. Which, if you're looking at those little vials, that's a ton of it.
So do you want to buy gold or buy isotopes? Let's start trading futures on isotopes.
Yeah, exactly. But it's a little wonder material. I mean, it's amazing that it can glow for that long. The half-life on it's like 12 years, 15 years, whatever, and you don't actually have to charge it, which has been my number one complaint with, the phospholuminescent sites. Because especially coming from my background in law enforcement, the phospholuminescent sites are great. I mean, they work great. You can see them great when they're charged. But for a duty rig,
Excuse me, Mr. Bad Guy, let me charge this for 20 seconds, then I'll take off after you.
Being in my holster, it'd be bright in the rear and dead on the front.
Hey, Miles, we really appreciate you being on the show tonight. We want to thank you so much. When we continue after the break, we're going to get in some politics, guns, and more. Thank you so much for having Ameriglo with us. Welcome back, everybody, to the Everything Weapons Hour. I think we might need to rock out with some additional music at some point. Maybe change some stuff up, get a little harder out there or something. We'll figure something out. Yeah, just talking to the producer a little bit. Good guy. I always look at him when we're going off on some tangent and seeing how hard he's laughing. A few times I think we've knocked him off the chair. But so I really implore you guys, check out Ameriglo, check out Aimpoint, check out CZ. We had Dave Miller on the show a few weeks back from CZ USA. He broke the world record.
World record holder, Dave Miller.
Yes. So we're going to get Dave back on the show in a few weeks. I know he's doing some traveling right now on his congratulatory tour, I believe. But, these are the kinds of things we want to find good topics to bring you guys. If you want to hear from a factory, if you want to hear from, some author or some political person, let us know. Call my producer. and
go
get
to our Facebook page. Everything Weapons on Facebook. Leave us a comment of what you want us to hear. What factories you want us to get on. 'Cause we're not
like
scared.
us on
We'll get 'em
Facebook.
Yeah, like us on Facebook. We'll get them on. You guys can ask them all the tough questions. You guys can submit questions to us. We're not afraid to ask them.
This show is specifically for you guys to try and help bring the factory to the forefront and give you guys an opportunity to ask questions of directors, of engineers, of various people in the company, the founder, to really be able to find out, why did they do it this way? How did they make that? Why are you turning around and using this type of barrel or that manufacturing process? That's the whole basis of the show. It's really, really important for us that we get this going for you guys. So one of the things that I wanted to let everybody know is that we're having a massive blowout sale. Mm-hmm. I know people are like, well, it's only so much off, but we as the retailer don't get very much margin. The manufacturer takes it and the wholesaler takes it, and we kind of have this little tiny piece. But we are reducing all of our gun prices. We've got a huge sale. We've got ammunition, 9mm, $11.99 a box, $12.99 a box. Mm-hmm. We got gun purses on sale, gun bags on sale, holsters on sale, cleaning supplies on sale. It's unbelievable, everything that's on sale. We have Frog Lube on sale, which was developed by a 32-year Navy SEAL, right?
Yeah, I mean, and the shields. I don't know of anywhere that's selling that cheap right now.
3, can I even say it on the radio?
I don't care.
$79.99. But I didn't say that.
Nope.
If you want to see how cheap they are, go on our website, go to the store or the other store, and soon to be, well, no, we can't talk about that yet. But anyway, we want to really give you guys an opportunity to get phenomenal prices. So we are having a summer liquidation sale at Everything Weapons. Find us online, find us in the store, like us on Facebook, and let us know what you guys want to hear. So one of the things that we've really been hearing more about lately is ISIS is coming back up into the news. It kind of died out a little bit. Mm-hmm. There's no protection on our border. And Dalen, you were telling me about some sort of training camps or something even here in Tennessee.
Yeah, and it actually comes from an old article. It was an investigative report that News Channel 5 here in Nashville did on homegrown terrorism camps. One of them's located in Dover, Tennessee, not far from us here. But you never hear about it.
So the whole
thing. Understand.
Yeah,
so,
I mean, this is. I think people, when Obama got first elected, were nervous and were very reactive in the beginning, right? And you saw ammunition go off the shelves, and I mean, everything just became very different. Mm-hmm. And then, as he kept beating people up and coming out with this and coming out with that, I guess we became like almost immune to it, where it's no
complacency.
Longer, it's complacency. It's no longer a big deal if something happens.
People need to stop living in their little bubble and thinking it can't happen here. Because I found out about this deal in Dover. We've had customers come in that live in Dover. Said, "Oh yeah, we hear gunfire coming from that place all the time."
Oh, and just a few explosions here and there, and it ain't Tannerite.
That baffles my mind. I think you found the military.com article about it too as well.
There's some. I'm just really confused and concerned. I don't see it as just lone wolf. The United States is importing more people from that part of the world than ever before. So could you imagine during the time of Nazi Germany and the Japanese Empire and Mussolini, all these things, right? That we would be sitting there and saying, instead of, let's save the Jews and get them out of Germany, right? Which I think FDR turned around 1 million Jews and sent them back. What if they were saying, hey, let's grab 1 million Nazis and bring them into the country?
Yeah.
Hey, what a great idea.
A novel idea.
Now, I'm not saying that everybody who's coming in from that part of the world is a terrorist. But I don't see when they can claim that they are, I'm trying to think of the word, that they're a refugee. How do we go through a process of determining they are a real refugee, Or are they a terrorist hiding and pretending to be a refugee and wanting to come into this country? So I talk to customers every single day, and they're nervous. I don't like that my customers are nervous like that. But what I do know is that we're not prepared enough.
No, and chance favors the prepared.
The terrorist is prepared. He's training or she's training. They're reading.
They have a game plan.
Oh, they know exactly what they're going to
do. The social media machine that they've created is absolutely amazing. They're radicalizing people that have never had contact with them at all, and getting just like the recent botched beheading attempt or whatever of the police department. Was that Boston or Baltimore or wherever it was at?
I mean, why is Boston such a forefront, right? So I've heard of stories in Michigan, Dearborn specifically, where there are men in Muslim garb, dress, I don't know what it's called, but stuff, and they're blocking the streets. And they have an AK-47 on under that robe, and the police aren't stopping this. And so they are taking territory.
What about the Sharia law zones? Why is that happening here?
I'm Jewish. It doesn't say Jewish law zone.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, this is ridiculous. It doesn't say Christian law zone.
But it's that complacency that I'm talking about that has allowed this to cultivate. People aren't standing up. People aren't doing anything about it.
I think we've talked before that Democrats go to the streets, whether they're paid to or they just do it, and we go to work.
Yeah.
And I understand we want our life. We want to make sure and think everything is right. But it's not.
No.
And I'm not trying to scare people. I just think that we need to have our eyes open and not closed.
Yeah, it's not it's not a scare tactic or anything like that. It's just wake up. Look what's around you. Pay attention to what's going on.
Read books that are out there. Listen to more than local news, right? Listen to national news. Turn on Fox News. Turn on Glenn Beck. Turn on people that you can turn around and say, I'm aware. I understand. Look what's happening in our schools and say, I don't like what's happening in our schools. I am going to get involved. We just moved to a new school district. I don't want to say exactly where because I got to go and introduce myself to the principal. He's going to love me. And I got to say, hey, I'm that guy that's going to be up your craw for the next umpteen years that my kids are in your school and school district. There are parents that pull their kids out of those schools and say, we're going to go into a different part of Brentwood or Nolensville or whatever in Williamson County, whatever, because we don't like that school. My opinion is change it. Band together, find out the parents that think like you do, get involved, know the books that your kids are being taught, understand if there's a liberal agenda or conservative agenda, help present that conservative agenda. If you're a retired business owner or businessman or attorney or CPA, and instead of just playing golf all day, get involved in the school, help that next generation or two generations below do better.
Yeah, I mean, and that preserves our rights. That preserves our First Amendment, our Second Amendment rights.
That's what it's all about.
Everything that's getting chipped away daily.
If we as individuals are not doing that one extra step every day, then we're going backwards every day. I don't want to complain. I want to solve. I want to do. I want to have motion going forward for what we believe. If you're listening to the show, you believe in the Constitution. You believe in the Bill of Rights. You believe in our freedom from England. You believe that being an American means that you're supposed to be self-sufficient and not reliant on the government.
Yeah.
I see it as our role and our responsibility to make small steps every single day in our community, in our neighborhood, in a positive forward direction. And
every little bit helps, Like this,
it's no longer I voted.
Yeah, the chipping away of our, since it's a gun-related show, of our Second Amendment rights, that didn't happen in one huge push. It's little by little by little by little.
Yeah,
and we'll get into something about that when we come back from our next break.
And when Chris Barrett was on last week, the first thing we did was talk about the NRA and how by being involved in the NRA is one of the most important things as gun owners that we can do.
And so little supports so many.
And how many people that own a gun are not a member of the NRA?
95 million?
I don't understand this.
5 million NRA
something
members,
like $25 to join?
Yeah, I mean, it's minuscule.
And the NRA is not paying me to say this, but I know that when it comes to the things that I can't do on my own, they are doing it for me.
Mm-hmm.
And if you disagree with me, call me at 615-737-WLAC and tell me that the NRA does not do what they are supposed to do. And then tell me why you're not a member when you should be. Because you should be a member.
Yeah.
I think everybody should be a member.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, and just going back to that, 100 million plus gun owners in the United States.
And 5 million members?
5 million members.
All right. When we come back, we're going to talk more about guns, more about politics, and we'll see you in a minute. Bit of rocking out there, Mr. Producer. We had to like that. So, my producer said something to me at the break really quick here that I thought that was really important.
Yeah, it actually was.
He does not own a firearm,
but he's a member of the NRA.
He's a member of the NRA.
Imagine that.
And how many of you do not own a firearm and are a member of the NRA?
You don't have to own a firearm. You just have to believe in our Second Amendment rights.
It's exactly what it's about. It's not about the right to carry or the right to have a gun. It's that those rights were given to us on that piece of paper by those great men, and that it's up to us to preserve those rights for the next generation. Mm-hmm. It is not up to us to spoil those rights, and I don't know if I can say
stop letting them get chipped away,
piss them away, whatever you want to call it. Yeah, he's like, yeah, you're okay. The funny thing is I can't talk to him and ask him, hey, can I say this? So I just have to take a chance and say it. Sometimes I'll ask him before the show, hey, can I say X, Y, and Z? And he'll say, well, if you mean it like this, yes. And if you mean it like that, no. So it's kind of confusing sometimes as I'm learning this whole radio thing.
So speaking of chipping away, everybody needs to look at the Office of Information and Regulatory Affairs. It's reginfo.gov. Because this new little thing.
We have an office like that?
Apparently so. This new little thing come out that they're wanting to discuss now. Obama's Department of Justice and the ATF about reclassifying what a pistol is. And
we don't mean a pistol. We mean
an AR and AK pistol.
Exactly.
So what they're trying to push now and what they're going to have a quote-unquote discussion about is that is not a pistol. That should be an NFA item.
And an NFA item means a $200 tax stamp and an 8-month wait.
Yeah. You should pay. You should have to have a separate background check done for that pistol. It baffles me.
So,
but this is the type of chipping away of our Second Amendment rights that I'm talking about.
If we don't protect what is happening, we won't have anything to protect at all.
No.
We go to work and we go home and we go to work and we go home and we go fishing on the weekends and we go shooting and we go and do all these things. And the Democrats are sitting there with this machine and they're constantly banging away. And they're doing it on 50 million fronts. Mm-hmm. And we're sitting there spinning in circles going, well, what do we do first?
Yeah.
So if you are a shooter and you enjoy shooting your AR pistol, or you want to have an AR pistol for home defense, and you don't want 8 months to go by before you can bring it home, get involved, call your ATF office, tell them they cannot do this. It is so important that
talk to your representatives and stuff. They probably don't even know about this.
I would say,
and it's right there on a government website.
Here in Tennessee, we have a few too liberal. They call our Republican senators say they are conservative at election time. Then they lurch far to the left of the right party.
Yeah.
Right? So they go, well, I'm still Republican, but I'm a big government Republican that believes in everything the Democrats do. I just want to do it more slowly.
Yeah.
That's not what we're talking about, right? That's not true conservatism. True conservatism is, hey, we have a problem here with AR pistols and AK pistols, and we need the right to own those firearms, and we need to own them. My wife has that new SIG NPX with the arm brace.
Yeah. Oh, you better not shoulder that.
I'm going to turn around and get her and do an SBR for her, right, with that. And she's got to, come in and get that done. But the whole point is should my wife have to do something different with that gun as a 9mm than she would with a handgun?
Yeah.
So if they can get the AK and AR pistols out of our hands, what next?
It's just it's one more little thing.
What I think comes next is every AR-15 becomes an NFA item.
Yeah, because
every 308
they'll have the argument then that, well, they're essentially the same. So
they
it
shoot
should
the
be
same
NFA,
round.
Shoots the same round. It should be the same tax stamp, same background check, same wait period, same us knowing that you have that firearm.
So now
we're fortunate in this state that we don't have a registry.
From California. Unreal.
Yeah.
In California, I had two guns, right? Now I've got 22 guns.
Yeah.
No, just kidding.
You've got more than that.
Yeah. Shh.
Don't lie to our listeners.
Don't tell the government. Yeah, I'm sorry, guys. I've got like 100.
You own a gun store.
But they're not all really mine. They're mine, but they're the corporations.
Yeah.
They're bad corporation. So, because corporations don't hire people and pay people and give people jobs. People do. So, it's really important that we get you guys to get on the phone to your local representatives in those 28 states, make them aware of what's going on, get the NRA involved in this, call your local NRA office or your local chairperson in your community and say, hey, are you aware of this? Let's make this a major topic. We talked about the green tip before and how they wanted to take that away from us. And we were able to blunt that and stop that.
For now.
Because it exploded as a huge news item.
Yeah. And that was a great response from the shooting community.
The problem is now they're after another thing. And what's the response going to be? How are the shooters in the United States? How are the members of the NRA? How are the members of the conservative part of the Republican Party going to react to having more of our rights taken away from us? Mm-hmm. Because this goes back to... It's not about the gun. It's about the Second Amendment. Mm-hmm. And it's about not the Second Amendment, but all of our amendments. It's about everything we believe in. It's about federalism, the Federalist Papers. It's about how America was built. And are we going to allow that to continue? Or are we going to let them stop America cold?
Mm-hmm. Which is what's happening right now.
The amount
people need to get involved.
I mean, as much as this is a gun show, it's a life show. Here's what's happening in our lives as gun store owners, as people in the
armed
community,
citizens, sporting shooters, everything.
Ex-police officer. We've got military guys that work for us. We've got a guy who was a medic on the battlefield, saving our guys' lives, helping people in their most need. We need
the guys
these
that were fighting to keep these freedoms alive.
And what are we
ones
doing
that
with
the
the
politicians taking chip away?
Yeah, Corker, what are you doing?
It's so counterproductive. What we
come on, Bob, pick up the phone, call Obama, tell him no.
Yeah, good luck.
This is just ridiculous. Help move us forward. Stop the train from moving backwards. Moving forward more slowly is not solving our problems. The behemoth of what the U.S. has become, and I don't mean that we're the 900-pound gorilla because we've been that for 70 years. I'm talking about our political system and the way it's gravitated to money and only money and no ethics, morals, and values.
It's dying.
There was a person who lost a couple of carat diamond ring. I think it was worth like $14,000 in Williamson County. It was turned into the police department, and they found the owners.
Yeah.
If that was Los Angeles, that diamond ring would not have been turned in.
No.
This is what is good about Middle Tennessee. This is why I moved here, because there's goodness still in this part of the country. It's like Los Angeles back in the early 70s when down Ventura Boulevard, which Tom Petty has a song that says, going west down Ventura Boulevard, right? So that's where I grew up.
Yeah.
And Tom Petty burned his house down one night because he was smoking, I think, or something happened. But so the ability to shoot a bowling ball down Ventura Boulevard, and it was all small mom and pop type stuff, and now it's all high rises, and it's where it used to take 5 minutes to drive, it's now 45 minutes. It's changed. I went out there recently, and I'm going to take my family out there because my son and daughter are going to do some special summertime reading program for 5 weeks and stay with the grandparents. But I hate it out there. The second I got on the freeway, it was like dog eat dog, man eat man. It was just unreal. It was
Criminals
not
have guns. Responsible citizens don't.
If one of the things that's nice, right, is when you carry a gun, being responsible for that firearm and where that bullet goes. Are you a little bit nicer to the next guy?
Yeah.
Right. When everybody carried a six shooter on their side, everybody knew if I'm not nice and I'm not respectful and I don't behave, something could happen to me.
Well, the left always makes the argument that the United States is fourth in the entire world for murder, for firearms-related deaths. And everything.
So let's look at the gang members.
You take out L.A., New York, Boston, New Orleans, liberal-controlled big cities. The United States is fourth from the bottom.
What I don't understand about liberals is they look and they go, oh, my God, our city's been destroyed. It's terrible. Let's move to a nice place.
And then they destroy it.
Exactly. They're like leeches or something, right? So
use it up until it's done and move on.
The Borg, right? That's what I think about. The Borg from Star Trek.
Yeah.
Right? That's what a liberal is, right?
Yeah.
They destroy a community and they move on to the next community. They don't look and think and say, wait a minute, maybe it was our policies that did this. Our policies destroyed this. Let's see. Liberal Democrats have been in charge of education in this country for 70 years. Let's think about that for a second. Where are we? What is going on? How do we fix this? Maybe what we're doing isn't right. How about a little introspection? It's not there.
No.
So I think it's important that we look at these things, and Williamson County right now has this thing, Williamson Strong, that's out there. Democrat, left wing, enough already. Williamson County, put your foot down. Save your schools. Get involved. Be not just a parent at home, but protect your child in school. Make these things right.
That's the only way we're going to preserve our rights. It really is.
Yeah, I know the show's ticking down. Little too political sometimes. I'm sorry. I'm passionate about the things that I feel. So I'll make you guys a deal this week. And I haven't told anybody because I just came up with this.
Oh, new deal.
If you go into the shooting range Monday through Thursday this week and you say you heard this show, what if we give you 75% off range time?
Hey, I like that idea.
We've been doing half off.
Yeah, I like 75.
Let's do 1 week at 75% off if you can say that you've heard this show. Walk in and talk to Dalen or my manager, Craig, at the range. I heard your radio show. I want my 75% off.
Yeah,
right?
I like that.
Want my MTV. So,
come in, exercise your Second Amendment
exercise your Second Amendment rights, right?
75%
Shoot some
off.
paper. Show how pissed off you are about what's going on out there.
Definitely.
Drop some lead down range, man.
Yeah.
So we are making some enhancements to the range. We put in some new LED lights.
Fantastic, by the way.
And
really like those.
We are going to be increasing the circulation in the range to 9 times per hour. So why don't you come in and check out the range? We have 100 rental guns at Everything Weapons Indoor Shooting Range in Franklin. We've also got a couple
.everythingweapons.org.
.com.
.org.
We're not eating corn here. We're talking about...
I said org.
.org. We're not a charity nonprofit organization.
Maybe
we are a capitalist society and we want to make money, right? But we do it right and we do it with the right price because we will not overcharge. Look at everythingweapons.com. Check out everythingweapons.com. That's everythingweapons.com. That's www.everythingweapons.com. If it's not stuck in your head and it doesn't make your head explode, it's not everythingweapons.com. Next week, we have a great show. Who's on next week?
Vortex Optics.
Vortex Optics. First focal plane, second focal plane.
We'll get into all of it.
See us next week with Vortex. I'll be flying in, so I'm going to try and make it. I hope I can. If not, it'll be Dalen solo. He'll make it. He'll do all right. Yeah. Cheer him on. Give him some positive phone calls. Next week, Vortex Optics.
It's going to be a good show.
Call in with those questions. What do we got? 20 seconds? 35 seconds? Good. Some more bloviating on our part, right? So, Dalen.
You could throw out everythingweapons.com again.
Everythingweapons.com. That's everythingweapons.com. Come and see us for, we only have, I think, 2 of those Smith & Wesson Sports left at $579. So. We got the Rugers. We got all kinds of LWRCs. Let's see you next week with Vortex and everythingweapons.com.